Welcome to another episode of the Dynamic Thriving Podcast. I am your host, Marianne Pack, spiritual guide into all things life transformational. And I have a special guest for us today, my dear friend and colleague, Dr. Davia Shepherd. Welcome, Dr. Davia.
Thank you, Marianne. Thank you so much.
I am so happy you are here. This podcast is in collaboration with the Ladies Power Lunch, and Dr. Davia is our chief happiness officer over there. And we have one rule, and that is that we intentionally support each other. So ladies and a few gentlemen we have in our group, if you are looking for a very supportive, very active group of entrepreneurs and business people and light workers and coaches and service providers and all those wonderful things that people are into, that you can find us at Ladies Power Lunch on Facebook under groups. And also you can go to their website, ladiespowerlunch.com. So I am very excited because today is the launch day of Davia's newest book. She is an international speaker and a best-selling author. So let's dive right in and talk about your book. But first, who is Davia and what good do you bring into the world?
You always ask the most existential questions, Marianne. So good, so very good. So hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Davia Shepherd. During the day, I help with my patients, patient care. We treat patients who have mostly pain, but at night, I'm a superhero and I don my cape. No, I do none of that. I do, however, host a women's group called Ladies Power Lunch. And as Marianne explained, it's just a free community where people, mostly women, but really people, can come together to intentionally support each other. When I was just starting out in practice, now so many years ago, I realized that there was a really great opportunity there for intentional support. Went to a lot of networking things, a lot of things where you thought that people would be really interested and intentional about their support. I ended up mostly having business cards shoved into my face. And it's probably just
Yes.
me. I don't know if anybody else has ever had experiences like that while out networking, but I knew that there had to be a different way. And so I'm really proud of the community that we have developed, Ladies Power Lunch.
Yes.
And the only barrier to entry really is if you really believe the way we do, that you can grow your business and even transform your life by just being supportive of each other.
I love it. I love being in the group. Like I said, it's a very active group, y'all. You really want to be in this group because there is so much support and so much encouragement. So let's jump in and talk about your newest book. It is entitled Grow Smarter: Collaboration Secrets to Transform Your Income and Your Impact. So I am excited about this. Tell us about the book and why it was important for you to write it now.
So, a lot of the times, especially in a group such as ours, Ladies Power Lunch, where our one rule is to intentionally support each other, you start talking to the group members and you come across something that seems to be pervasive. Lots of people have been out there trying to collaborate with others and have been having difficulty. They've had collaborations that don't work out in the best interest of everybody involved.
Yes.
And if a collaboration is not beneficial for everyone, then, well, to be honest, it's not really a collaboration. There's another word for it, and I explain that in the book. So you got to go get the book basically to find out what that is. But it is a problem that people come across, is everybody doing all the right things for this collaboration to be successful? What I know, certainly from experience, and collaborations that I have done now number in the thousands, because I've been collaborating, I guess, since I was a baby. And I tell the story of that in my book as well. So yet another reason for you to pick up, just for the stories alone, you really want to grab this
Yes,
book,
yes,
Grow
yes.
Smarter. But all joking aside, there is a right way to do collaborations. There's a way that will actually increase your income and your impact. And there are other ways that can be not as successful. And so, with a group such as ours, where we are encouraging collaboration, it seemed only appropriate to outline what a collaboration is, what a collaboration is not, and to give a framework or basically a step by step model for having an appropriate and also a successful collaboration, one that's going to be beneficial for everybody involved.
I love that. I like to think, and I know we've had conversations about this, but I like to think of collaborations as they're complementary. I know you talk about there's no space for competition in this world of collaboration. That it's not, oh, they're going to get my people away from me. It's that we're growing that audience, we're growing that impact and making a greater, because I know we've had conversations too about the mastermind that Napoleon Hill talks about in Think and Grow Rich. So when people come together in collaborations, that is a true collaboration. It's like Dr. Divya always says, 1 and 1 is greater than 2. So I love that part of it. Tell us a little about your mess as far as why this became a message for you, because I know there's always a story behind why we do what we do, and the things that we write and put out there into the world.
Yeah, well, I really truly have always had the very same message that we can, even for my patients, we can live our optimal lives. A lot of the times we spend so much time in stress and strain and struggle. When I was just new to being in private practice, thing they don't tell you in school is that running a business, that is a whole that's a whole job by itself,
Yes.
separate and apart from the thing that you go to school and you learn how to do. Marketing, sales, bringing in new patients or new clients or that sort of thing, it's not necessarily something that we learn in school when we learn to do the thing it is that we do it, unless you went to business school or something like that. And I didn't do that. I went in a different direction. And so what happened was, I finished school and did all the things, and I joined our practice. And for a while, I worked as an associate. Then I was invited, such a great invitation to be a partner in our practice. And oh, by the way, in addition to that, I was also invited to take on the role of CEO of our practice. So I had to take on operations. And I had never done this before. Somebody suggested, well, one of the ways that you can get more clients and more patients into your practice is to join the chamber. Problem is, it was kind of not the best of times. We were in a little bit of an economic downturn. I don't know if you guys remember, but about 11 years ago, the economy wasn't great. We had patients who lost their health insurance, they lost their jobs. For some of our patients, it was actually a decision between coming in to see us and actually doing other things in their lives that are super important. And so we lost quite a lot of patients. And I go into a lot of detail. I tell that whole story, explain about that in the book. But what happened was I joined the chamber, and chamber was great. but it was a little bit one-sided. And I joined other networking groups, and it was sort of the same way. I made a lot of great connections, met a lot of really nice people, but it was a very one-sided relationship. I
Mhm.
had, I mean, okay, our patient group was shrinking, but I had a lot of connections still, because I mean, you're a physician in a small town, you're going to know a lot of people. And so
Mhm.
I was able to give a lot of referrals and make a lot of connections with people. But I can truly say that I didn't see that same sort of reciprocation
Mm.
coming back. And so,
Yeah.
one of the things that I knew is that I didn't have a lot of time, but there I was at every networking event. If they had morning networking, I was there. If they had lunch and learn, I was there. If they had after hours, I was there also. I was at everything. I mean, people got to know me and they would even say, "Oh, you know, you can count on it. Dr. Davia, she's gonna be there." Because I was at everything. And one day I decided to invite a group of women who I had come to form a relationship with to let's just have lunch together at Ruby Tuesday on Route 6 in Bristol, Connecticut. It was very interesting because 6 women sitting at the table was very different from all the networking things that I had done up until that point. Every single person at the table, they came to give. They came with no inhibitions whatsoever. All they wanted to do was to make sure, and some of them knew each other, some of them didn't. It wasn't like, oh, friends helping friends. This was just women getting together to change the world. If somebody came up with a question, somebody at the table had an answer. It was really one of the most magical lunches that I'd ever had. And at the end of the day, everybody left with something, and everybody had made a connection, a real, true, heartfelt connection, not just a surface level connection where, oh, a business card exchange, but a real heartfelt connection. I'm talking about like play dates ensued. I'm talking about like somebody who needed help with her elderly parent getting referrals to help with that sort of thing. We got below the surface, not just on the surface. It was
Mm.
a quite, I mean, the group of women that got together all in different areas of business. So it wasn't as though they connected because of any specific reason, except that they just decided that they wanted to. And my business grew, their businesses grew, and we all decided that, you know what, this is great. Let's keep doing it. And that's how
Mhm.
Ladies Power Lunch was formed. And so I know firsthand that when the support is intentional, when the support is aligned, that you can see things turn completely
Mm.
around in your business and in your life. And you can get to that stage of ease and flow, which is what a lot of us wanted when we decided to head into the journey of pursuing our passions, whether it's in the entrepreneurial space or in the corporate space. However, we decided to do it, ease and flow was perhaps a big part of why we did what we did. So I thought it was time to talk about this, talk about
Mhm.
the benefits that I certainly have received, and to talk about a step by step approach to changing the paradigm, changing the way that we think about cooperation or collaboration, changing the way that we think about growing our businesses. And that's what Grow Smarter is all about.
I love it. I love it. Can you just give us some of the highlights? Either just list off the steps for us so they have something to look forward to when they get your book in their hands.
Sure. But before I, dive into the steps, because the steps by themselves and in abstraction might not mean a
Mhm.
whole lot, I think it would be important for me to say that, you know, it is very clear to me that intentional, aligned support
Yes, yes,
is
yes.
important. It brings that ease, it brings that flow. What I know for sure from 8 years of hosting Ladies Power Lunch and for all the thousands of collaborations that I have had in the past is that the power of the collective when we get together to do something, it's so much greater than the sum of its parts. And we've
Mhm.
talked before, Marianne, about the power of a true mastermind, a true
Mhm.
aligned intentional mastermind, and how when one plus one shows up, it's greater than two, how the ideas that flow when
Absolutely.
more than one person gets together. It's going to be more ideas than I bring to the table. It's going to be more ideas than you bring to the table.
Mhm.
Somehow, there's some magic that happens there, something that I may not be able to explain and you might not be able to understand, but what we can be certain of is that it's there, is that it's true, and that it happens. Also really interested in sharing this point because I think it's so important. We have, and I say we, but I know it didn't start with us. I know this is something that's been coming for generations. It's been drilled with us that this is the way you do business. We crush the competition.
Mhm.
And I'm here to say, let's think about this a little bit differently. Let's build this whole new world where there's room for all of us to be successful. And
Absolutely.
I know that competition is just a mental construct. It only exists in our minds. It is
Mhm.
not a real thing. I was even talking to some of the women in our Ladies Power Lunch group, and I said to them, look, even if there are 500 coaches in this group, the
Mhm.
fact of the matter is there's 7.7 billion with a B people in this world. I
Mhm.
have a feeling every single one of those 500 coaches can find enough people to fill a practice. I am reasonably
Absolutely.
certain about that.
Absolutely.
And, there are no two people who do things exactly the same way.
Mhm.
It's just not possible because I'm going to bring to the table my life experiences. You're going to bring to the table your beautiful, just amazing uniqueness. And so it's very fortunate that there are going to be people who are going to be magnetically attracted to you. And there are going to be people who are going to just not be able to stay away from me because I am their person. And the key is in an aligned and appropriate way, getting the word out there so that the people who are right for you, they can be attracted to you. And
Mhm.
everybody's heard about attraction marketing and that sort of thing. But I feel like this idea of doing it in a collaborative way
Mhm.
actually ups the ante and makes it so much better. And the last thing I want to say before I explain the steps, just to put everything in context, is that, and this is where I get a little bit of pushback sometimes, struggle is optional.
Yes.
There's some blaming here because I struggled tremendously in my first few years as being, the person who's running our practice. It was
Mhm.
not a walk in the park. But what I do know is that the moment I realized that collaboration was the answer, and the moment I found the intentionally aligned support that I was looking for, that changed everything. It was
Mhm.
like a switch just flipped. It really, really changed everything. And so my 5 steps are simple. They are very, very simple, but they are so effective. Step one is to ask and know. I'm not sending people out there to go ask other people to collaborate with you. Not at all. What I'm saying is go within, and I feel like your listeners and your viewers, Marianne, are going to really appreciate this because they appreciate the whole idea of spirituality in a
Yes.
way I think that maybe other audiences might not. You have to know yourself before you
Mhm.
know others, right? You have to know what you want from a collaboration before you hop out there and start asking others. So I would say a great place to start is within. And then the second step that I suggest is alignment, making sure that you're in alignment with the idea of the collaboration, making sure that the people who are collaborating with you are also in alignment. You want to make sure that the alignment is the collaboration is intentional. You
Yes.
want to make sure that everybody is in that same mental space. This is a space, when you ask a lot of people about collaboration, the first thing they say is that communication. And communication is important. And this is where the communication comes in, because communication has to be aligned. Like, I could be talking to you, Marianne, and you could be hearing something completely different from
Yes.
what I'm saying if the communication is not aligned. And so we didn't want to make this step communication, wanted to make it alignment, because we wanted to make sure that people understood the difference between talking at somebody and actually having a conversation.
Yes. Yes.
The third step is all in. And a lot of the times people think when they hear all in that, oh, we're trying to make sure that the other person who's part of the collaboration is all in. But that's only a half of it, because it's two in the collaborations. I feel like there's an opportunity to remind everybody that we have to make sure we're all in too. We need to make sure of that. There have been times, work in progress, I am every single day. There have been times when I have said yes to things and I haven't had the time for it. I really haven't had the energy for it. I may not even have had, the desire for it. I just said yes because you want to keep everybody happy. So when we're looking at all in, we need to make sure that, yes, our partners are all in, but what about us? Because if we're not, that is a real ticket to failure for a collaboration. The step 4 is just making sure that, everybody who's in the project is doing what they're brilliant at. It's called assignment. So basically, I love to give this example, Marianne, because when we were talking initially about setting up a database and a concierge service for Ladies Power Lunch, and you have all the talent in that regard, I thought to myself, well, I learned how to do, I don't know, make some ClickFunnels websites at some point in time. Okay, I'll make the website. Guess what, guys? I am not good at this. I have learned how to do it, and it's a skill that I have that can help me to have a conversation with a VA who's working on something, a conversation that is intellectual, but it doesn't mean that I need to be the person who's doing it. But I put my hand up right away and I said, okay, I'll do the website. And then I went and I looked at Marianne's website, and I thought to myself, and that she had made herself, and I thought to myself, why did I raise my hand for that? Marianne is amazing at this. This is not my area of brilliance. Maybe in our partnership, there's something else that I would be better at. And so having a conversations back and forth, Marianne took that one back on. So just making sure that, there are things that you can do extremely well. There are things that you might be okay at. And then there are things that you do because you have to, and there are things that somebody else should do. Where you should stay in, and I'm drawing a whole grid on with my fingers in the air, but you get the point. Where we should stay is in our zone of brilliance. Stick to the thing that's brilliant for you. So Marianne has the things she does well. I have the things that I do well, and we stick there. And that's really making sure that we're staying in assignment. And then step 5 is, it's one of my favorite steps, to be honest, because it leads right off of step 4. And it's talking about applications and resources. So here's the deal, guys. Just because you're in a collaboration with somebody else doesn't mean that you both have to do every single thing.
What?
I know, right? You really, really don't. Step 5 makes sure that the things that are not my brilliance, the things that are not Marianne's brilliance, that we go out and we go find applications and resources. It might be that we delegate to a VA, or it might be that we find some software program that can help us. We find a way so that we're not left struggling to do something as part of our collaboration, because that struggle, Marianne, it's only going to bring resentment, and it's
Yes.
only going to interfere with that alignment that we had achieved back at step 2. And so those are our steps. And, in the book, I go into very great detail about each step and how that plays out in an actual real life collaboration.
Awesome. I'm so looking forward to. I've gotten to read snippets and I can't wait to get my hands on it. So, where can people find this book? Since this is your launch day, this is when we want everybody to run out and buy it and put a review out there.
Everybody, please, this is a new paradigm. This is a shift that I am
Yes.
inviting us to consider. I am thinking that we can live our optimal lives. We can make more money with ease and flow and grace, and we can be part of a connected community where we can actually find like-minded people who can collaborate with us. And so read the book. It is available at growsmarternotharder.com. And I invite you to go on out there, read the book. And then if you want to go beyond the bestseller, that option is also available for you when you go up to our website, growsmarternotharder.com.
Very nice. I love this. So there you go, folks. Run out right now to the website. The link will be in the show notes to make it really easy for you to go find Grow Smarter, collaboration secrets to transform your income and your impact. So, thank you, Dr. Divya. I so appreciate you and spending time with us, and that I get to be part of this beautiful book launch. And I'm so excited for that. Do you have any closing words of wisdom you would like to share with our audience?
Yes, I just want to remind us. I feel like I cannot say this enough. There's room for all of us to be successful.
Absolutely.
If you had the idea for your business or your way that you are living your passion, the way that you're supporting others, then the means for you to be successful at it exists. If you were given that
Absolutely.
idea, if it flowed through you, then the possibility is there. And we have been taught for so long to compete with each other. And even as women, we've been taught that competition is the way to go. And I'm here to say, maybe there's a different way. Maybe we can grow smarter. Maybe collaboration is the way to grow our impact, to grow our incomes, for us to achieve that time freedom, that financial freedom that we so desire, for us to be able to live that life where we make our decisions based on desire and not on the price tags.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. So thank you, Dr. Divya, for being my guest. I so appreciate you spending your time with us.
Thanks for having me, Marianne. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for joining this episode of the Dynamic Thriving Podcast. And be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, because it helps my work to go around the world, bring much more joy. And as always, visit our website, maryannpack.com, for all of our services. And as Dr. Divya was talking about, the Coaching Concierge membership will be up, and we'll have more information on that shortly. So be sure and look for that also. And thank you again for listening and watching. And remember, you are joy, looking for a way to express.